wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Transformers, robots in disguise. And of course, in my hand, folks, is a rather lovely present I got 2 years ago from Florida. Very hard to come by. The original G1 Transformers series that aired, I think, from 1984 to 86. I might have those years wrong, or 87 maybe, but this is fantastic. And now, of course, for the purposes of this video, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be referring to the clowns of this absolute hilarious comedy as the Decepticons, led by Megatron. And we, of course, are the human version of the, well, I could say the Transformers, the Autobots. And I guess in this day and age, folks, most of us with maybe more than one brain cell are controlled by the automatons out there. So if you remember Alan Tudyk from the Superman Behind the Scenes trailer a few weeks ago, where he said this to a very injured Clark Kent.
Thank you.
No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it.
Exactly. We're supposed to get on with our daily lives, pretend nothing at all is happening in the world that affects a lot of people. But no, instead, I have to sit here in front of a camera and enjoying myself. By the way, I have to admit, I've been enjoying myself in the last few days making these types of videos for you. And I'm just going to turn my mic this way because she gets rather excited sometimes. But on today's video, folks, the aftermath of that UK Supreme Court 5-0 ruling that women born biologically as women are shock horror women, and men who are biologically born as men, males, are also men. And on Saturday, folks, Easter Saturday, the usual clowns, the Decepticons, went marching in London. And not only that, folks, they daubed statues, defaced public property so they could be heard. Because you know what? When it comes down to brass tacks, if your voices can't be heard, let's resort to violence.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Oh, here we go, folks. So Sky News, the UK, I want to look at their footage very quickly before I get to the main article.
Women's rights
so
campaigners outside the Supreme Court after a ruling that the legal definition of a woman is based on biological sex. For both sides, how they communicate is the same.
All women's rights are human rights. Trans rights are human rights. Trans rights are human rights.
What they're communicating, though, so utterly different.
Hey, listen, do you know what I'm going to say right here? I will actually blame the medical profession for all of this nonsense, because if they had a moral compass about them, they wouldn't actually reassign a person's bits and pieces to make them feel better about themselves. It's not a placebo effect. It's more than that. And so again, the mental illness factor is definitely there, but who and what are encouraging it is the medical profession. And whether you agree or disagree with that sentiment, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the same thing, but you're too afraid to say it, which is why I'm your mouthpiece, folks, right here on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Trans liberation.
Against a backdrop marching through Westminster, trans support groups voice their concern, in total disagreement with the judgment of the UK's highest court.
He's wearing a queer boy t-shirt. Well, that's very nice of you.
Biological sex, which they also then failed to define. They're not telling us, is that chromosomal? Is that hormonal? Is that based on genitals? No one knows what that actually means in practice for people who are having to decide who has access to what space.
The concerns raised.
Yeah, interesting that, because I discussed about the spaces for people with funny faces to be occupied in various changing outfits, changing rooms, I should say, in various arenas like a gym or maybe the bathroom at your local theatre. Leave those people alone. Well, we do. And if they leave us alone, the normies, that would be quite good too, wouldn't it? But you know what? they shouldn't leave us alone because they're giving us an absolute clown fest, an absolute laugh a minute brouhaha of absolute frivolity here, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. But as we progress further into this video here, folks, I'll show you what else happened. Oh, is that Sharon Davis? Oh my word. Shazza, what? Right, let's see. Wow, for a minute there, I just had to do a double
find
take.
Solutions, we needed nuance, but we weren't allowed to do the nuance because we weren't even allowed to debate. So if you come from a position where a trans woman is a woman and nothing else counts, where do you go from that? You know, whereas we were going, well, actually, that's not biological fact. You know, and in something like sport, it's really relevant. You know, your physical ability is what it's all about.
Questions now turn to how this ruling will be interpreted in reality. Square were covered.
So there you go, folks. If you're not being heard, then, oh, wow. Wow. I certainly cannot read that part out. I'm actually surprised they would endorse such a slur, because if I said that, oh, I'll be thrown off YouTube immediately. That is quite hypocritical, I think, actually. Let's move on from that. Oh, hello. And what can I do for you, sir, madam? Oh, I'm a terrible human being. I know that. And I'm sure this person's great to hang out with, but if they're going to be jabbering in my ear all day long about their rights to be whatever sex they think there are, then I don't have time for you, sucker. Now, before we get to the other video here, folks, have a look at this post from Joan Smith, who is the pole blonde on X. Yvette Cooper, who is one of Labour's, she's the Home Secretary, isn't she? And Bridget Phillipson condemn damage to statues at the weekend. However, they have nothing to say about violent threats to women by the Decepticons. Too controversial to condemn a virulent men's rights movement, it seems, and she's getting a lot of likes, and quite rightly so, because the statues can't challenge them on the devastating betrayal they've shown towards fellow women. How they can look at themselves in the mirror, I'll never know. Well, I guess the mirror is the same one from Snow White. It lies to them about their appearance altogether. But of course, now I want to talk about the other. I love this woman, Rita Panayi from Sky News Australia. I absolutely love her, and she's got a very sarcastic approach to what I like to react to as well. So let's see what Australia's finest has to say about lefties losing it over the weekend.
This is where reality triumphed over delusion. Yes, Britain's Supreme Court has helped restore a little bit of sanity in an increasingly mad world with a landmark ruling steeped in common sense and scientific certainty. In a definitive ruling, the court found that a woman is a biological female.
No!
Always was, always will be. And that means women's spaces and women's sport should be protected from male bodies. Of course, that saw outrage from the usual suspects.
I do my business is none of your
Oh!
Where I do my business is none of your business.
Where I do my business is none of your business.
Oh!
Where I do my business is none of your business.
Kiss reject.
Our biological sex does not decide what toilets we use, our brain does.
This next trans activist not only wants to use the female toilets despite being a male, but he wants to poop on J.K. Rowling.
What?
Charming.
I'm going to use a woman's toilet. Then I'm going to use another woman's toilet. You, J.K. Rowling, you'll never stop me from peeing. The only person that is you.
So again, I'm not saying this bunch of people have issued death threats against the women who won the 5-0 ruling last week. I'm not saying it's these guys. And yes, I'm saying guys. But it's how can they expect any kind of sympathy at all if they have to use violence as a last resort? That's what other criminals, hardened criminals, men mostly, would resort to, or is part of their everyday life, where it comes to certain sections of the world that you rule with an iron fist in a specific neighborhood, right? So yeah, and of course this dude needs a fashion rehaul and probably check himself into a clinic.
So
Well,
do you
who's
want to
this?
discuss dangly bits or not? Because
they are
frankly,
relevant, aren't
I am
they?
now feeling in a position where I'm in a room with you and I
you
feel
feel
unsafe. Yeah.
You feel unsafe?
I feel unsafe. I feel my heart racing. My hands are starting to sweat. Do you want to touch my hand? Just clam me now. And I actually think I'm about to have a panic attack from sitting in a room with you. So I'd like to leave now.
What?
Yeah.
So you're feeling...
Yeah,
you were asked to come on the show to have a conversation.
And I've had a conversation.
We had a very nice...
No, it's not having a conversation. It's just shit stirring. That's what it is. I mean, again, can you imagine this as a first date material? And she's describing things when you got feelings for somebody, but she's using it here from what I've gathered from this conversation, that if she walks into a room with a biological woman, she apparently is going to feel nervous and, oh my God, let me take this back a minute. This is hilarious. Let's have a look. Does Rita Panayi give an introduction to this?
Activists. It went about as well as you'd expect.
You are not, in fact, a woman. Do you not accept that, or do you accept that ruling?
I mean, like, whatever. Like,
no,
for
that's not an answer to a question.
Let me finish.
You're not a 12-year-old.
Let me finish my sentence. That is, to me, whatever. Because for me and my community, trans women are women. They have always existed. They will always continue to exist.
What is that?
Yes, they have always existed, but not under the moniker of Decepticon. It's just normally there was other ways you referred to them, and they did integrate into society, but now it's a lot more prevalent, right, folks? Because hey, if you got a credit card and you can pay back your monthly loan after being reassigned by a corrupt surgeon, then what else do you expect?
I mean they've existed.
Well,
no one's saying they're figments of imagination.
Yeah, but we are saying that they're women.
No, saying they exist is not the same as saying they're women.
Well, I'm saying that they're women.
And that's not the same as saying
No. Well, actually, love, I can look at you here and I can debate whether you're a woman or whether you're, well, the most convincing sociopath ever. Honestly, folks, oh my God! Look, I'm a certifiably sane man. I know you're laughing at my headband today. It's very 80s. It's very retro. I don't mind. I'm here to take a bashing because if I can give it out, I can take it. Well, just not up the pooper duper, if you know what I mean. And honestly, folks, it's just hilarious to watch this all unfold. Because, like the Joker, sometimes I feel a little bit screw loose and might check myself into a local asylum and then check myself out by the end of the day. But these lunatic Decepticon folks, I think they've got a long way to go, because if you're threatening the women who won last Wednesday in that landmark Supreme Court ruling defining common sense, you haven't much of a leg to stand on. And then again, if it's not a leg, it might be something else that we're not aware of. So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you ended up having a bit of a chuckle today, having a bit of a laugh, and by the way, I can't go just yet because one of my tabs just prompted me to react to this particular thing quite quickly. And that's what I mean by a thing. Oh, yes, it's Amy Lou Wood again, folks. And what has she done now? Well, actually, a Saturday Night Live alumni called Bowen Yang backs her decision that his castmates should not have ripped the Mickey out of her false dentures. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, this is so... Oh, well, have a look at him. I mean, this is Bowen Yang. I don't even know who this guy is. He went on to say that the experience has served as a much-needed reminder for the show to not poke fun when it suits your narrative. Oh, of course, because when someone like President 47 is in the limelight, you can rip him to shreds. But when it comes to a very timid, very sensitive actress called Amy Lou Wood with the two front teeth that put beavers to shame, that apparently is off limits. Well, this has been a very enlightening conversation today, ladies and gentlemen. And if I were you, and if you were me, you should definitely return for the next video. And you don't have to subscribe. Just letting you know that. You can just like and you can just share this video. It will tell YouTube you liked watching my silly, goofery face in today's episode.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Works for me. Like and subscribe, or get your nuts Krogan crushed on Kung Fu Hot Dog.